firm believer that glitter fixes everything, including under eye circles. Just kidding, but if you guys would like to see how I fix my under eye circles, keep watching. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do, and I think one of the most important thing when you're trying to cover under eye circles, is to make sure that you've primed the under eye area properly. If you don't have moisture underneath the under eye area and you try to put any kind of concealer, it's just going to settle in the fine lines and wrinkles and it's actually going to look worse. So one of my favorite products is the MAC Fast Response Eye Cream. And I've also already moisturized my face and given the moisturizer time to set in. I'm just going to take a little bit of the intensive under eye repair and I'm just going to run that along the underneath of my eyes. And yes, I already have my eyeshadow on. I do typically do my eyeshadow first because if you do your foundation concealer first and you do your eyeshadow last and you have any fallout, it's going to make your under eye area appear darker if you drop any dark shadows down. So I'm just going to put that Fast Response Eye Cream on. I'm going to give that time to sit in before I start putting on any other makeup. Alright, next I just like to take a paper towel and I like to just kind of blot it over my face and gently underneath my eyes. And this is just going to pick up any excess moisturizer that you might have put too much on. Because if you keep piling product on top of product, you're just going to end up getting really bad buildup in fine lines and wrinkles. So put your product on, your moisturizers, your under eye repair, give it time to set in, and then just gently blot off on top of your skin and remove any excess in case you've put on too much. Alright, so next I'm just going to go ahead and apply my foundation. I'm just going to be using my Estee Lauder Double Wear, and this is the color Fresco. And I'm just going to be applying that with my Beauty Blender. And I'm going to be applying that all over, under my eyes, down my face, everywhere. And I like to apply my foundation before I do my concealers or any contouring, because it'll give you extra coverage. If you put your foundation on and then you do your concealer on top, if you still need more coverage, you can go back on top of your concealer and add more foundation if you need it. So I like to do it this way because it makes everything more buildable. Now if you do your concealers first, that's okay too, but I just feel like doing foundation then concealer and then more foundation if you need it is going to give you better coverage. And I'm just using the tip of my Beauty Blender. That's why it's pointed. That way you can get right up underneath the eye. And if you see how I'm kind of stippling my foundation underneath my eye, if you take your Beauty Blender or any sponge and you wipe it, you're just going to be wiping away the product. So I'm just using the tip of my Beauty Blender and going underneath both of my eyes. And you can see that helps with the under eye circles a little bit, but you can still see them pretty bad here. So we'll go and conceal those after we get our foundation applied. Alright, so I'm just going to show you some of my favorite products that I like to use for concealing under eye circles. The first one is the Eve Pearl Concealer Treatment, and this is in Fair and Light. And these are salmon based colors, so they kind of have an orangey peach undertone to them. Orange will help neutralize blue and purple tones, which are usually found underneath the eye. So you're going to want to find something that's usually an orange or a peach tone. Yellow can work underneath the eyes too if you have more purple under the eyes. Yellow will neutralize purple, so you can use yellow too. But I definitely prefer to use something that's got a little bit more of a peachy or a little more of an orange undertone. And of course, my Maybelline Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. These come in a variety of colors, light, medium, and dark skin tones. And then this one is the Brightener Illuminator, and this one is really peachy, orangey based. So this one really helps to conceal the under eye circles, so I do like these. And you may see these in stores, drugstores, Ulta, Sephora. Basically these are corrector palettes. So you'll see different colors in all the palettes. You'll typically see a green color, a yellow color, a soft orange, pinky color, and they all have a different purpose. But today we're going to be focusing on the soft orange color and the yellow highlight. Now the yellow, like I said, is going to help to neutralize purple underneath the eye, and then the orange is going to help neutralize blue or dark circles under the eyes. These are really good palettes. This one is by Graftobian. I know Makeup Forever has one. There's tons of different ones. It's basically knowing how to use the product, not so much what brand it is. So we're going to go ahead and get started and show you how to use each one of these products. Alright, the first product I'm going to show you how to use is the Age Rewind. Now this has this little sponge tip applicator, and this is a brand new one, so I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But usually I take off this little sponge because it gets kind of gross. And you can just twist it, and then you can use a finger or your brush to apply it. So I usually take this little sponge off. And this is the Brightener Illuminator 60. So the way I like to apply this is I'll take some on the back of my hand. And you can use a sponge if you want. But like I said, it just gets kind of gummy. So I'll just take some on the back of my hand. And I like to take, this is a concealer brush. It's flat bristled, really smooth. You can find these anywhere really. And I'm just going to dip into my product. And I'm going to go underneath the eye. And I'm going to be making a triangle. I kind of call this like a triangle of light. And I'm not going too high up underneath my eye, because whenever you go to blend this, you actually spread it up higher. So you don't need to go right up underneath your lash line. And I'm also taking it in this inner corner of my eye where I have a lot of darkness. And I'm going to extend it just a little bit past my eye. That'll kind of give me a nice highlight at the top of my cheekbone too. Kind of brighten things up and lift my eye up a little bit. Alright, so once you've got your shape in, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender again, the pointed tip. And I'm just going to gently stipple over top of that concealer. And you can see that the product is moving upward. That's why I said you don't need to take it and put it directly under the eye. So I'm just kind of taking it and I'm stippling it. And in the corner, you can take your finger and do a tapping motion to blend in the corner there, because the beauty blender is a little bit big to fit. And you can see the difference, how bright this under eye is, and I still have this dark circle under this eye. So this was the Age Rewind Maybelline. The only thing that I'm going to do after that, I am going to set it with a little bit of translucent powder. Just taking my Cover FX translucent powder, and I'm going to take a puff. And you don't want to put too much powder underneath the eyes. If you put too much powder underneath the eyes, it's going to settle in fine lines and wrinkles and make everything worse. You're really just trying to set your concealer. You're not trying to over powder, because if you over powder, it is definitely going to settle. So I'm just taking my puff and I'm pressing underneath the eye area. Alright, so next I'm going to go in with my Graftobian corrector palette, and I'm going to go in with this soft orange color. And again, I'm just going to take my spatula and I'm going to take a little bit. If you put too much concealer underneath your eyes, it will settle on your fine lines and wrinkles, so you don't want to overdo it. I mean, I'm barely using, a tiny, tiny little dot. I'm going to go back in. And if you don't have a concealer brush, you can take your finger and you can dot it in that triangular pattern. Remember to keep it up high above that cheekbone. Go up into the corner. Now something that's more orange based like this is going to give you better coverage if you have really dark circles. Remember, orange neutralizes blue. Yellow neutralizes purple. So if you really have really bad under eye circles, I would go for something that's a little more orange based. I'm going up into this corner. Okay, so now I'm just going to blend this in with my finger, and I'm actually going to be doing a tapping motion. Remember, if you take your finger and you're wiping all of your product off. So I'm just going to kind of tap this product in. So there's a lot of different ways you can apply your concealer. You can use a beauty blender, you can use a brush, or you can use your fingers, that's free. And I'm carrying that concealer up underneath my eye. I'm just tapping the product in. And again, I'm going to take my translucent powder and my powder puff, and I'm just going to dab over the top of it to set it. Okay, so now that I have both sides, you can see that they did pretty well neutralizing my under eye circles. Now, if you feel like your under eye circles are still showing and you didn't get enough coverage, you can always go back over it with a little bit of foundation. But remember, the more products you layer on top of each other, the more likely it is to crease. So if you felt like you needed more coverage, you can go back over it. I just added some more foundation to the tip of my Beauty Blender, and I'm just going lightly back over the top of my concealer. And that'll give you more coverage if you feel like you need it. And then of course you're going to need to go back over top of that and powder that again. And next I just wanted to show you guys how to conceal under eye bags. Now those are a little bit harder to cover than circles, so I'm going to kind of show you how to do that. Now I've kind of done the left side, I've exaggerated a little bit so you could see exactly how to do it. Basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your lighter concealer color. Now your concealer color could be about a shade or two lighter than your natural skin tone is what you would want to choose for a concealer color. So I'm going to go in with my Eve Pearl Salmon color, and I'm going to take the lightest color. Now I don't really have under eye bags that bad, but I'm just going to kind of show you, if I did, how I would fix that. So typically an under eye bag is going to start right about here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your lightest color, your concealer color, and you're going to want to take it just underneath the bag. You're not going to want to put the concealer on top of the bag because then you're going to highlight it and make it more noticeable. So you're actually just going to want to take your concealer color and brush it just underneath the bag. My bag started right about here. I'm going to take that concealer color and I'm just going to blend down. I'm not blending up towards the bag, I'm actually going to blend down. And I'm using a brush for this because I can be a little bit more precise, or you can just use your finger. But you're going to want to put that concealer color just underneath the bag, not on top. And then once you have that set, you're going to want to go on top of that color with a darker color. So you're going to want to go in with the shade that's about your skin tone to maybe a half a shade darker. So I'm just going to go in with the color that's right next to it, that's a little bit darker, and I'm going to go right on top of that. And remember, you're not using a ton of product. The more product you use and more buildup you get, the worse it's going to look. So I'm just going to take this darker color and I'm going to go right on top of that lighter concealer color that I did. This will create an illusion and help to make the bag under your eye recede. So you're basically going to do your light color, then your dark color on top. I'm going to take my finger and blend that out. And like I said, it creates an illusion and helps the bag to recede. And once you've got everything concealed, I would then go back over your face with a setting spray just to kind of keep everything in place and keep from setting and fine lines and wrinkles. Now, if you're still having a hard time covering your under eye circles, a friend of mine sent me a great pin on Pinterest with one of the best ideas I've seen in a really long time, and it involves glitter. It'll definitely fix any under eye circles or bags that you're having a problem with. So let me show you how to do that. I'm just going to take my Grafto Bean glitter glue. I'm going to go all underneath the eyes in a triangular shape. I'm going to do this on both eyes. Remember to go right up above your cheekbone. Make sure you get a good bit of that glitter glue on. Go right up under the eye or anywhere that you're having problems. Glitter fixes everything. So I'm just taking a brush and I'm just following my triangle of glitter underneath the eye. And like I said, this is a surefire way to fix any under eye circles, bags, wrinkles, anything that you want to hide. I mean, it just looks better already. And perfection. Anything under the under eye area that you didn't like, completely gone with glitter.